Okay, this is video 2. I've got the file your name csspoem.html open in Dreamweaver, and you should see your files over here in the Files panel, and we're going to be using CSS Designer. So you need to make sure you have those two things showing, as well as properties. If anything goes away on you in Dreamweaver, you accidentally close it or whatever, you can always go up to Window and then Properties, Files, and CSS Designer is in there too. Okay, so we got two HTML files. One of them we're going to attach a CSS file to, and the other one we're not. So you can kind of see the difference between them, before and after. So the first thing we're going to do is attach this CSS file called poem.css to this HTML file. So we're going to go to the CSS Designer, and then here where it says Sources, I'm going to click on that plus, and then I'm not going to do create new like if you were starting from scratch, but because we already have one. So attach existing CSS file, and then you can't just type it in, you need to hit browse. And then if you've got your files panel set up right in your site, it should just go right into your folder, and then you go into this and find poem CSS and open, and then everything else should be good, and you hit OK. Alright, so now under Sources you should see Poem CSS, and just to give myself a little more room, I'm going to slide some things here. You should see under Selectors, you should see 11 different selectors. One's for the body of the HTML page, which includes everything. There's a couple more tags, H1, H2, which are the two headings. These are called IDs, the ones that start with a hashtag. And these are for different divs that have IDs, like Notice is the thing at the top. Container is the big box that holds everything in your page. Poem is just the parts of the poem itself. Author is just the part that has his name at the bottom, down here. And then each of these refers to different parts, like an image inside the poem, the dog image, and the first line of the poem, paragraphs inside the poem. Okay, A is a link, so a link inside Notice, which we're going to make later. So everything in this project, other than making those links at the very end, is just working with these styles. So this is where you have to have the PDF, because I'm not going to do all of these in the video, or be long and not really necessary for you. So looking at the PDF from Google Classroom, here's what I just showed you there. And what you're going to do is make sure the Show Set box is unchecked over here. So Show Set is right there. So here's what happens. I go to Body, and it shows all the available properties for the body style. Okay, if I have Show Set checked, I won't see anything, okay, because I don't have any properties set yet for the body style. Same thing on all these. These names are in there, but there's nothing set for them. They're all empty. So that's why you need to have Show Set unchecked, so it shows you all your options. And then what you're going to do is just go back and forth between this list that you have in the PDF right here and the Styles panel in Dreamweaver. CSS Designer, it's called now. So for the body style, it says set a background color of black, which is the hexadecimal code, all zeros like that. So you just look through this list until you find background color. You can also jump around in here there's borders, there's backgrounds, there's text, there's layout. It just jumps you to different places in here. You don't have to use these, but I'm going to click on background. Okay, and then background color and other stuff that we don't know. So here's background color. I'm just going to click on this box and slide it down into that corner as far as you can, and it should say all zeros right there, and that's black. If I I can move this over so you can see it. Oh, of course not. I'll get it. Here we go. So there are different ways to set up colors in CSS to declare colors on the web. And one way is with hex codes, one way is with color names. There's RGB and RGBA. So for this, I've got it set on hex. So if you want yours to match up, that's where you have yours too. Hex is just a 6-digit code of numbers and letters sometimes that represents a color. Okay, so that's black, and my background for the body just turned black. Okay, and I'm in live view, so I'm seeing these things pretty much the way they're going to look in the browser as I set them. So the chart said that was it for body, so now I'm on to the next one. And I'm actually going to come back to font family after a second and do, actually I will do that first, never mind. Do font family, because Georgia, the one it says to set it to, is not in the list. So I'm going to notice, which is said to set it for, and the type properties, text properties. And then it says choose font family of Georgia, and that's not in here, and I could show you how to add fonts to this list and stuff, and I don't want to take time to do that. So I'm just going to set it to one of these. Okay, and then what I'm going to do to edit that then, now that the CSS file is attached to this HTML, you'll see it up here in the upper left corner. And so if I go to code view, I'm either looking at source code, which is the HTML that we're not touching, we're not editing that, or the CSS, which now we're starting to add stuff to. It's not empty anymore. So all I'm going to do on a couple of these where it says you're going to have to type in the font, just start by choosing any font so it makes this property in there for you, and then just change it to Georgia in this case. Okay, and then I'm just going to go back to live view. And some of these you're not going to see right away until we change some other things. Okay, so what else did it say to change for notice? See if I can get these both here at the same time in this recording window. Okay. So color, use eyedropper to sample a very light tan color from the dog. So color is just, I'm still on notice, and property, I want color, which is the text color. And so instead of doing a code or finding it in here, lost my eyedropper off the edge again. There it is. So use the eyedropper, and we're going to grab the color scheme for this page from the dog. So it said the very light tan color. So what I meant by that is like one of these in here, like where the fur is pretty light beige or light tan, like that. Okay, and then you can click off of that, and now you see that text show up. Then font size. There's all different ways to set sizes. So a lot of times you use pixels, and another one very common on web is ems, which you can think of an em as being the size of one character. So when we set the font size to 0.85 ems, that means we're making it a little smaller than one character usually is. 0.85, so it's like 85% of the normal character width. And so that just made it smaller. And you're just going to keep going through font style, italic, font styles here. Some of these you're going to have to hunt for a little bit until you get kind of used to where they are. So this will go faster as you go along. Letter spacing, 0.25 em. So where is letter spacing? There it is. See, I don't even know where all these are in this list. This whole CSS designer panel, this kind of setup is new. So I'm not even quite used to it yet. So it said 0.25 em, so I'm going to ems. 0.25 em, so that's going to make the letters closer together. Oh, sorry, I lied. It's making them farther apart. And putting 1/4 of a width of a character in between them. Okay, and then padding, that kind of stuff is in here. And margins are there with it, above it. Okay, and to set any of those, like it says, padding bottom. So the bottom padding, 12, and then PX. Okay, and then there's top padding left, right. When it says do margins, that's these. You'll get to a point where it says do auto margins. You click on that and you just type in the word auto. Okay. There's width, and you're going to find all this stuff in here. I'm not going to do all these. So you just start going through them. Line height is in there with the text properties. And then you're going to keep going all the way through. I'm just kind of looking through this to see if there's any of these that are weird that I should show you. So when it says to use the darker tan from the dog, then that's like back here, kind of near the blackish area. And then when it says to use like the almost black, dark brown, then that's like some of the almost black hair back here. You'll just use the eyedropper again to get that. And this is correct on the image. We're going to make it move over by giving it a negative margin, which is kind of a trick to scoot it over. Usually margins and paddings are positive numbers, but so that is correct in there. It's negative 140 px. And at this point, I'm going to stop, and you can stop the video and you can find the rest of these styles that are in the charts. It'll take you a little while, but it'll go faster as you go because you're going to learn where all these are. And then I'm going to start back up and show you how to make the links at the very end. So go ahead and fill in the rest of these styles, and when you get it done, it should look like the last thing in the PDF. You're kind of shooting for this, is what it should look like, without the links at the top. And I'll show you how to do those links when you start this back up again. So we're back, and once you've done all those CSS rules that are in the chart and you're in live view, you should see this. Okay, and we still haven't done the links at the top, so that's what we're going to do now. And I'm also going to open the other page, This Is Poem, the one without the CSS, and it's also going to have a link at the top. So you don't have to word these the same way they are in the example, but what you're going to do is select that text and make sure it's you don't delete that notice box that it's in. So I'm actually gonna, oh, and I can't type there because I'm in live view. Okay, I have to be in design view. Can't really edit stuff in live view. So I'm leaving that T there just so I don't accidentally delete the whole box. I'm going to say click here to see this page with CSS styles. And I'm going to delete the T. So where it says this page with CSS styles, I'm going to make that a link to the other page. And one way to do that that's kind of interesting and easy, it's really different. Instead of typing in the name of the page you want to link to or browsing for it with that folder, this is called the point to file icon, and you can just drag it on top of the page you want to link to like that. And in the other one, I can say I want to get out of live view. And I'm going to make that link the same way. So this page without any CSS, I want to be the link. And so